Hi, good afternoon, everyone. We'll wait for another 2 minutes for others to join in, uh, and maybe we will start off another 2 minutes. Please bear with us till then. Hi, good afternoon, guys. Just a quick introduction about myself. I am Samir Mehta, as the visual show. I'm the MD and CEO at Multiply Brand Solution Private Limited, which is a erstwhile DDB Mudra Group company. And I've been into marketing for more than 25 years now. I started my career in the space of experiential marketing, and I've had a chance to deal with a good amount of activation projects, events, tactical projects. Then graduated into setting up a trade marketing unit at Mudra, and gradually acquired a complete understanding and managing a business unit in the space of shopper marketing, retail marketing, technology and data solutions. And frankly, I'm a ranker. I've really grown within the ranks within the organization like Mudra. I've been privileged to be a part of a bigger organization and network agency. And it's only 5 years since DDB Mudra showed a certain amount of issues because of the US gap. They had to exit this part of the business that I had set up within Mudra. I had a chance to manage the show on my own. So that's a quick background about me. And the organization that I represent here is Multiplier, and Multiplier as a brand is a 15-year-old brand, but as an organization and a PNL, it's just 5-year-old organization. And while we exited the DDB structure, we were in terms of the turnover, we were only 160 or 170 crore turnover company. But while I speak to you, we are 380 plus. We should be touching 400 crores by end of the year this year. And I really feel proud to say that during these tough times also, Multipliers had a chance to experience 25% growth over last year, which is phenomenal. And I thank my team for such a phenomenal growth and a commitment to really bounce back and really reach a milestone for ourselves. So that's a quick background about myself and Multiplier. It is basically to set the context and also to tell you largely the kind of varied experiences that I've had. And being a part of the network agency, I've had an experience to work across the board, right from advertising, mainline communication, digital communication, to events, to activation, to trade marketing and whatnot, even out of home for that matter. And so I had a flavor of each and every aspect of advertising and marketing communication, but not being a client, but being on the agency side, where my responsibility or the responsibility of the organization has been to deliver it to the respective client basis, the brief and basis the mandate that they have, right? So that's a quick background, and I hope this helps you to understand where I come from and where the knowledge comes from, right? So I'll straight away get on to the agenda now, which is largely the role of the new age marketing, what it is, what it isn't, and how to do it. Understanding the new age marketing benchmarks to drive engagement, new age traits of a successful marketing leader, and modern day careers in marketing. Because marketing, again, is very, very vast from where I started off and where it is today. So that's going to be the structure of the presentation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to request all of you to maybe wait for 10 minutes. Most of these subjects are going to be 10 minutes each. And anybody has any questions, any queries, or any specific case studies to share, happy to really hear you guys out. We'll appreciate if you can post your queries on the chat box, which will be taken up at the end of each session, right? I hope that works. So we'll start with it. So we all know that while we've gone through a bit of unprecedented times, and we all know what's really struck us over the last 2 years. COVID has really led to a huge amount of unpredictability, and we've not been really sure as to what this means for all of us. Which also means that as the governments gradually remove pandemic-induced restrictions and businesses begin to reopen, there's a sense of that we might go to normalcy, but there is a new normal that we will be introduced to now. And during the months of lockdown and self-isolation, we've been in fact writing a new future, right? So the way we buy things, the way we behave, the way we interact with each other, the way we meet with each other, the way we work, right? New terminologies have been introduced to our life. We hardly really were well versed with work from home as a practice, but all of us are pretty habitual to now work from home. You guys, most of the audience here, I understand, are students. Were very not sure of what is work from or what is study from home, but you guys have really experienced that as well. And while we are in this discussion, the new norm is going to be that a lot of organizations, a lot of institutes are looking at a hybrid model now. So as you can see, we are holding this webinar over the net and over a Zoom call, which is something that we knew about maybe 3 years ago, but we were not pretty habitual to it. And especially we being humans, we are more relationship oriented, and hence it's a new norm for us. And it has a very, very important implications for marketers who are trying to build very, very long relationships and trying to provide certain amount of experience to their customers. How do they do it? And largely what it looks like is it's more of trend analysis that they are getting into. They're trying to track the data. They're trying to understand the consumer behavior now in the new norm, and what are the kind of changes that it has caused, and how is it that people are reacting is become something which is of key importance to all the marketers. And to the center of all these discussions, one of the core remains the consumer behavior and the new trends and the new patterns that are emerging now. And the marketers will need to think hard and differently about what the consumer in the next normal will think, feel, say, and do, right? So that's a statement that we need to really look at. And for all of you who are looking at marketing as a career, you should really look at this important statement, which is more to do with the thinking, feeling, and doing or the purchase patterns of your consumers. Now, I'll be honest, like, though I may not look too old, but while I started out with my career in the space of advertising and marketing, what you see on the right hand side, which is being mentioned as old age, used to be in the space of mainline communication, which is radio, print media, television, right? Or to some extent, we used to call it mainline advertising or below the line advertising. These are the two terminologies that used to exist at that point of time. And over the last 2 years, what we realize is that all of on the right do exist, but something that seems to have really surpassed the expectation and has taken over the old age marketing is in the space of digital marketing, or the way we really communicate with our consumers and our shoppers today. And if there are a few data points to look at, and this is just to set the context that 31% of the global marketers currently invest in short form video content, right? So you see any brand, any product today, everybody is trying to create short videos to really be able to explain the product, give an experience to the consumer, talk about the brand philosophy, talk about the value system of the organization, so that a consumer may want to subscribe into it, right? Those are the kind of things that the short videos are being developed for. Similarly, 44% of the global marketers plan to increase the investment in the social media space, right? And while we all are familiar with Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and all, but we never thought that this will take the center stage, and this will be the new norm on how you interact with brands, how you experience the brands, and how you basically subscribe to the brands, right? So this is again now a new norm. And 84% continue to invest in SEO, right? So it's search engine optimization, which is largely how is it that you really have your website, your organization, the keywords pop up every time anybody tries to search for you or the category or the industry on Google, right? So that's also become of paramount importance to everyone today. And 35% of the marketers leveraging AR and VR. So I'm sure you've experienced AR, VR in some or the other form. And while it's at a very, very nascent stage, but you will see this a new trend once again, and a lot of brands are really subscribing to it. Today, the only challenge that most of the marketers feel with AR and VR is the cost involved into it. But with the new technology and new practices coming on board, even this is gonna be very, very economical, and you will see this becoming the new way where the brands would want to provide an experience to the existing consumer or a prospective consumer going forward. What is the new age marketing? And as I said, the traditional mediums used to be TV ads, print ads, out of home radio, right? And especially for people of my age, we've really lived by only these 4 or 5 mediums. The other medium that I would add to it is experiential marketing to some extent. But TV ads is something that has been a part of our life for a long time. And every time I open up a newspaper, half of it is filled with a lot of advertising and a lot of offers, so to say. And out of home is something that while on the move you experience, and there is some kind of special out of home uh, billboards that you also experience while you are on the move. And radio, by God's grace, still exists. And while we are on the move, we do hear radio on a regular basis. It's a different case. In a lot of cases, I see people connecting their mobiles to their audio system while on the move in the car, and would want to really hear to their choice of songs or their choice of content. But at the same time, the new age mediums today are social media, which, as I said, your Facebook, Twitter, then digital marketing, then influencer marketing, and video marketing, right? So these are the four means or the four new age marketing techniques that are being adopted by most of the marketers, and they're looking at how to really adapt one of them or all of them to really maybe replace some of the traditional mediums and be more effective when it comes to the brand communication or engagement with their consumer. This is one of my favorite slide, and this I must say that this is opening slide of our credentials at Multiplier. And the shift that we have been facing over the last couple of years, or I would say a decade, is that while on the left hand side has been a conventional or an old way of marketing, we've experienced how brands used to push themselves onto a consumer, right? The interaction with the consumer has been very transactional, ek haath le ek haath de types, right? Then the brand has been that I am the brand, and they will try and push the brand onto themselves, or the consumer, sorry. Then a lot of brands would have really created a store experience or created a store, and irrespective of what the shopper may be looking at, they would really try and create an experience irrespective of the need or the persona of the shopper or the consumer. And a lot of data was collected as a proof of sale, or to say that this is my consumer or this is my shopper. That's it. And if you were to walk into any of the stores, you will see a lot of announcements happening that we have this for you. This is the feature of the product. This is the price of the product. This is the brand philosophy. That's it, right? But now if you look at how this shift has happened from left to right, is that most of the brands are looking at more of a pull approach and not as a push approach. So how is it that you become more need based for the consumer to pick you upon vis-a-vis competition? That's of core importance, and you have to have relevance when it comes to the consumer need. If you're not relevant, you really can't create a pull approach. That's one. The second part is from transactional only, it's moving into transactional and emotional, because one understanding is very clear to everyone that today you have to have long-term and repeat purchase by the consumer. And how does that happen? It does not happen if you have just a transactional relationship, but you really need to build an emotional quotient as well. So you have to really touch upon the emotional quotient of the consumer and really be there. And from the brand, it is more of shopper and brand. So you have to really get into the shopper profiling. You have to really understand the shopper behavior, and then build a connect backwards with the brand, right? And from a store experience is more to do with holistic brand experience and not just the store experience, because what's the core philosophy of the brand? What does the brand stand for? Why am I relevant to you? That's something that has to be showcased while a shopper is at the point of buying, or the point of sale, right? uh, and from validation by data, it is more to do with by inspired by data. And all the marketing initiatives being taken by the marketers today, you will see one commonality among all the marketers, which is uh, all of the campaigns, all the initiatives that they take are largely inspired by data. So they would understand, they would want to understand, where does my consumer visit the most? What's the profile of my consumer? What's the need of my consumer? What are they trying to research for while they walk into a store? What are the kind of likelihoods that they will buy my product? What is it that they are looking for, or what is the kind of feature that really excites them the most, and hence they really focus upon that bit only. And at the same time, it's not anymore about announcement, but it is largely to do with engagement. So you have to engage with your shopper to be able to uh, get those loyalties, and to make consumer pick you vis-a-vis competition. So engagement leads to long-term impression and a long-term loyalties, and hence it is important to really ask for engagement and not only go and tom about yourself. I hope this clarifies. In case there are any questions, happy to take it up. So one request that all of you please put your queries in the Q&A section, and we'll reach out to you with answers to all of that. Yeah. So the holistic brand experience is largely to do with uh, what does the brand stand for, right? What is the core philosophy of the brand? If you were to look at, you walk into an Apple store, right? Uh, I'm sure it gives you a different experience altogether, and it gives you an experience which is largely to do with the tech, the high end tech, the kind of niche product that they've developed. So the brand stands for all of it, and hence at the store level also, it tries to provide you that holistic experience so that you are able to relate. And that's where there is a sense of pride you while you pick up a Apple product. I hope this explains. You're welcome. So we'll go to the next section. So straight away getting on to how is it shaping now? And as I said, digital media seems to be really taking the center stage, and everybody is really looking at digital means to interact with their consumer. And if you look at these data points, it clearly establishes how the brands are really focusing upon the spends and their initiatives. So the first thing that we all used to have is, while any organization comes into existence, a website is a must. But it's no more just a must, but some way and means of you establishing yourself and creating an image in the mind of your consumer. So the consumer in a lot of cases first goes on your website, and your website has become your address in the real means, right? If you don't have a website, you don't exist today. So what used to be a case 10 years or 15 years ago in terms of the website, if you don't have a website, you still can exist, is no more a possibility. And website basically talks about the organization, the core value, the product, the service, its addresses, its people, which basically is able to establish the organization and the brands that it represents. Then own digital, within this category, most of the budgets are going into website, email, mobile, right? And I'm sure you know why mobile. We all have that in our hand day in, day out, and that's the best and the easiest way to reach out to our consumer. Then paid digital, which is digital ads, search ads. So while you are trying to Google for something, I'm sure you must be realizing that all of a sudden a window pops up, or you start seeing some ad at the bottom or on the top or on the right hand side, which is basically paid digital media. And in a lot of cases it is really high these days, because in a lot of cases what happens is that your browsing patterns are being monitored, and a trend is evaluated basis which all these ads are being thrown to you, right? So that's where the paid digital ads is something which is becoming very, very prominent today. Then earned digital, which is social and SEO, which is search engine optimization. Then offline ads, which is 9.9%, which is again huge. And then partner affiliate marketing, which is 9.4, and events, which is 8.4. But if you were to look at these data points, these are the kind of data points which have emerged in the year 2021. But if we were to talk about it 5 years ago, this would be very, very different picture. And if you look at 72.2% is pure digital channels, which is huge, right? And you'll be surprised to know that around 8 years ago or 10 years ago, it was the other way around, right? So your mainline advertising, your below the line advertising would take away close to 85-90% of the spends of any marketer, and it used to be only 5 to 10% of spends that would go into the digital channels. So look at the huge change that has happened over the last 2 years, and you will see much more happening with different brands and different categories in times to come. How new age marketing works. To know how the new age marketing works, it's crucial to have a very clear view of model of modern marketing. And largely the two pillars of the new age marketing are the capabilities and the enablers, right? So how do we really leverage the talent that we have inside or outside the organization? And the capability part is that which capabilities are needed to deliver the marketing work, which may be internal or external, again, once again, right? But you've got to have a complete understanding of the same. Here this elaborates a little more in detail, which is largely to say, if we were to look at the capabilities part of it, from the strategy and insight standpoint, where the limited insights and lagging indicators used to be one important aspect, to now the brand vision and strategy informed by real-time insights that are integrated into operations and the front lines. And largely, if you look at, as I said earlier, a lot of data mining happens by each marketer, and all the strategies and insights are derived out of those data mining, right? So a lot of data analysis happens, a lot of AI, ML, I'm sure you must have heard about it, are driven by means of the data trends and data patterns that are being observed in the digital platform. And it's easier to do in most of the cases, the offline modes of really understanding the strategy or the insights from a shopper lens have really changed over the last couple of years, and hence it's important that this shift happens. And similarly, in the creative and the content space also, it has moved from periodic and intuition driven campaigns to very very content driven analytics and data, right? And it is driven by and augmented by the AI tools. I'll also, while I'll just run you through this grid, I'll also showcase an example and give you a better insight as to how this moves from to, right? And why so. uh, Media and channel activation, which has moved from channel activation plans managed in silos and optimized from time to time to rapidly iterated activity utilizing unique attributes of each channel, tied to a 360-degree view of the customer journey. So it's not that you only provide or reach out to your consumer via different channel, but you have to really create a seamless experience for the shopper to really understand and be able to experience in the entire customer journey. And I will showcase this by means of one unique example, which we've had experience to do with one of the clients. Customer experience and personalization. So from several broad offerings across large customer segment to customer experience that is data driven and very very personalized, leveraging unified customer data across all interactions to allow for purposeful communication. And measurement and marketing of ROI, which is limited ability to measure impact, holistic customer level ability to measure all or most components of marketing investment. And in the product and pricing space, uh, which used to be more of marketing disconnected from a product, to working hand in hand with the product to activate consumers by building a cohesive experience and using analytics driven pricing. So until unless again, uh, all of this, if you look at, and I've put these 4 dots on the left hand side, uh, what is the commonality among these 4 specific parameters, which is strategy, creative, customer experience, and measurement and marketing. Uh, the commonality is that all of this is largely driven by data, and data stays in the center of anything and everything that is being initiated in each of these buckets. So whatever strategy and insights are being worked out, it is based upon certain amount of analytics, certain amount of understanding of the trends, right? And basis that, as I said, while at Multiplier we do some stuff in the space of shopper marketing as well, where we understand the shopper, get into the shopper profiling, get into the categorization shopper, creating a shopper persona. A similar strategy is being adopted in anything and everything that you do in the new age marketing. So even if you were to really arrive at with the new strategy and insights of doing something special, it has to be driven by data, right? It's no more a validation process now, but it is a process where all your initiatives need to be driven and inspired by the data and the analytics that you derive out of the data that you got. And these are the largely enablers. So which is again organizational design and culture, agile way of working, talent and agency management, and data and technology. And this is from if I was to really talk about each of these buckets, it is the organizational design and culture is from business and product centric to organization designed around the customer centricity and expanded breadth of marketing's role in driving growth, advanced operations in place to execute. So somebody just asked me a question in terms of the holistic brand approach, and if you were to look at, this is how you really build that connect wherever you go. So may it be at the website, but the website and your store experience has to relate to each other. There has to be certain amount of common features and attributes for people to relate to, and that's where they subscribe to your brand and they subscribe to your philosophy on a longer period of time. Similarly, agile way of working, which is from annual planning and multiple handoffs, it is highly empowered, cross-functional agile teams focused on rapid test and learn. And what has happened over the last 2 years is certainly that your annual planning does not work anymore. You have to be agile. You have to really catch up basis the opportunity that you get. And I remember while I worked on my plan in 2019 for the next financial year, all of that went out of the window. And all of a sudden, I saw myself working on plan number 1, plan number 2, plan number 3, plan number 4. And all of that really kept changing over a period of time. And how it works is that you have a very, very empowered and cross-functional agile teams, then you're able to pull through difficult times and you're able to really prove the credibility of the brand and the organization that you represent. And that's the case with anybody and everybody today. Talent and agency management. So over-reliance on agencies and organic talent development, right? So you call an agency for a brief, you hand over the account to the agency and you expect them to deliver anything and everything is a passe. But largely the strategy to attract, retain, train, and upskill talent and to manage an interconnected agency ecosystem with best-in-class expertise become very, very important. So the kind of talent that you may expect the agency to have, similar matching talent needs to be available at the brand side or the corporate level as well, because you got to really understand what is it that you need to really extract out of the agency, and you will be able to do that only if you have a complete understanding. You are able to really train them on the brand and you are able to really upskill the talent that you expect them to deliver to you. And similarly, in the data and technology space, it's largely moved into the space of 360-degree customer data at the absolute core of a seamless customer journey, across which an integrated marketing technology stack connects signalized data, right? And if you see, the N word comes as the data, which remains the core of today's new age marketing. So I will just move into a case study. But before that, if anybody has any question, happy to really. So as I said, this is one interesting case study that I'm able to relate to every time I provide similar kind of, I have an interaction with anybody and people like you. One of the brief was that while the brand that we were looking at was looking at really arresting the growth of its competition, but they didn't know how to really do it. And while we studied the competition brand, we realized there was one particular feature or attribute of the product which would create certain amount of dissonance in the mind of the shopper. So what we did was, firstly, with huge amount of dipstick and a research, we first understood the shopper, we got into the shopper profiling of it and understood the shopper journey in a specific format of retail. And how is it that at the last mile, a shopper really makes a decision in favor of any brand? So what we did was first, we realized that this is the kind of a journey path that a shopper takes to pick and choose the brand of their choice and then leave the store. So how is it that I am able to influence the shopper in favor of my brand and say that the brand that you usually pick may not be relevant, and there are few kind of attributes which are a mismatch in terms of the expectation? And that's where we started plotting these interventions. So we knew that the shopper arrives here. This is where I need to provide a visual which will create a sense of dissonance in the mind of the shopper, which is again leading to education to the shopper. And then I again planted, after say 10 feet, another key visual, which basically talks about my brand elements, right? And then another intervention, which was a constant reminder mechanism, which is to say that you don't need this, but you need this, right? And after that, you place the last point of contact is basically a cash counter. And while the shopper leaves from the cash counter, you leave some kind of leave behinds, which is in the form of a freebies, which is largely for a kid to engage with and retain the specific POSM to be able to build a brand recall. So I have not mentioned the name of the brand here, but I will disclose that. And this is something that we did with GSK, and the brand that we did it for was Junior Holics. And this is how we created certain key visuals, some amount of creatives, the language, and few elements of POSM to be able to place within the store during the customer journey, the shopper journey, so that I'm able to influence the shopper and also create brand loyalty towards my brand, which is Junior Holics in this case, over a period of time. So we placed, do you need a fat or a fit? So here you're making a parent think about it, and gradually you're talking about the age and your height barrier. So the parent starts looking at it, and then you have various other POSM which basically highlights the best features about your brand, so that the customer or the shopper really picks you over the competition. So this is the way you do it in the retail space. And what I've really spoken till now is largely that you track a shopper in a similar fashion across the board today, right? So where does my shopper go? Where does he look out for information? Where does he look out for the product? How does he choose a product? Does he choose a brand? How does he choose a pricing? And then basis that, you have huge amount of data points to relate to, and then you start really targeting your shopper, your consumer accordingly, and you create campaigns, or you create various marketing tools to be able to reach out to your consumer, right? Quickly, because of I just realized that I've gone a little overboard in terms of the time schedule, and I have another 5 minutes to really close all of it. So I'll quickly run you through this entire understanding of new benchmark, which is to drive engagement. And how do you do it? If you look at today, all of us subscribe to content, and content has become another key today. We only subscribe to something that is of interest to us, and which is largely by means of podcast, press releases, print publications, and social media. So we have specific liking, and we only consume content, the kind of content that we like to see or hear or read. Then mapping shopper journey, as I explained, the 4 stages are awareness, consideration, decision, and experience. And as I said, be where buyers are. And while you are able to map the complete shopper journey and the various patterns, you need to really touch upon each of those interventions and create those interventions to be able to influence the shopper, right? Uh, and multi-channel marketing, which is, if you see today, 72% of the customers prefer communicating with brands digitally. That's the first point of contact today that happens between a brand and a consumer. The first thing that they do is they go online and they search for the brand first, and then the consumer may go and engage with different channels before making a purchase. So if I've really researched better about the product and the brand, once I'm convinced, that is where I may go out in the market, or I may engage with somewhere with the brand at some other destination. But the first engagement is digitally, and largely, if you see, 72% is a big number to look at. Valuable and premium information. So one of the changes that came with the new age marketing is the shift away from a traditional advertising to the new ways of marketing, which I've showcased. Online reputation, which is more than 88% of the customers use reviews as a factor in their purchasing decision. So if you have a 4-star review, you have a 5-star review, that is what you subscribe to. And that basically states the kind of credibility of the brand or the product, right? And the new age experiences, again, which is the new age experience is all about providing a better, more complete experience for your customers, which is in any format that may really be possible for a consumer or a brand to engage in. This is just to quickly run you through the earlier way of marketing used to be, or the way customer used to be at the bottom of the funnel. So I'll create a marketing campaign, then I'll push for sales, and then I'll be able to reach out to customers. And if you look at what I've presented over last few slides, the customer or the shopper remains in the center. First, you will understand the customer, and you look at where is it that I can grow, and then you will get into a strategy which is largely to attract, engage, and delight the customer. And then you will create those enablers around it, right? And this is the new way of marketing, which is not funnel, but more of a flywheel way of marketing. What are the new age traits of a successful marketing leader? You got to be a unifier mindset. You really can't work in a specific space. As I said, there used to be a mainline communication, there used to be a below the line communication, there is a digital marketing. But how is it that you bring all of this together is of key importance today. And anybody who's able to really connect the dots and is able to really build a seamless communication and a seamless experience for the customer is a successful marketer today. What is the customer centric mindset? So as I showed you in the earlier slide, the customer used to be at the bottom of it. Today, the customer is in the center. And until unless you understand your customer very well and you understand the need of the customer, you really can't create marketing campaigns, you can't create channels, you can't create product strategy, you can't create a brand strategy around it. And anything and everything today, any marketer does is driven by a ROI mindset. So anything that I spend, a rupee I spend, has to give me a X into 1, is the kind of a mindset that has really kicked in today. And it is something which is of paramount importance to every marketer. And they can't really survive if they don't have this kind of a mindset in place. The modern day careers in marketing, brand management, email marketing, SEO and SEM, experiential marketing, social media marketing, storytelling. Some of these were unheard in the past, like SEO and SEM, email marketing, social media marketing, storytelling is something that is new to me, right? But as new as maybe 3 year or 4 year earlier from now. But these are the careers today to look out for. And this seems to be really driving one key agenda, which is very, very content driven and customer centric marketing campaigns by really getting into any of these spaces. And the marketing roles that brand plan to recruit in 2022, largely if you look at, and again in the content space you were to look at, it is content creator, content marketing manager, content strategist, creative assistant, digital brand manager. So if you look at, the top 3 positions are being taken in the content space, and content in times to come will be one another key component, because the data may drive insights, but that insight needs to be converted into certain amount of content to engage with your marketer, or to engage with your target audience. And that's important for any brand to really understand and develop that kind of content to engage with the consumer. These are some of the books, and I'll leave this with the institute for you to really catch up to, and you may take a screenshot to relate to these. So I have another, not even a minute now. So to conclude, marketing is all about how your customer feels, how they perceive a product, a service, or a company. The challenge is to understand the emotions the brand evokes within a prospect or a customer, and then channel it into empathetic marketing content, messages, and campaigns, all served up at the right time, at the right place. So, sorry, I had to really rush during the last couple of slides, because I think I really got carried away during the first 6-7 slides. And that was basically to establish how important is the entire content piece and the new age marketing channels. So I hope I've been able to do justice to the webinar. I'm open to have the questions in case there are any. Am I supposed to look into the Q&A section to be able to answer? I don't see any question being asked in the Q&A section.
Sir, there is a query. What are the key skills needed for the content space? How do we connect with clients? You can check the chat option.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Right. So for the skills needed for content is, I'm sure we used to call it copywriters, and they still are very, very relevant today. So one is your articulation skills, your communication skills may be in a specific language, So you got to have those skills in place for sure. You should be able to really articulate well. You should be able to really your command over language has to be very good to be able to really do it. And how you really create a storyline is also very important. So these are largely 3-4 skills that are required to be a good content person. And what's the other question? The key skills in content. Last slide, please. That's I am on the last slide. Is there any other slide that you're referring to? So what are the key skills in content? Signalized data means personalized data. What's the kind of... Is this the one slide that you're referring to? Any more questions? So as a undergraduate, firstly, you need to really be sure or look at the interest levels that you have. What are the kind of uh, interests that you have in the marketing space? Because as I said, marketing is no more a simple advertising role or a digital marketer role, but you got to really understand what's your talent or the kind of skill that you carry. And you may have to really to you I think my suggestion is uh, work as an intern in a advertising and marketing agency first to be able to understand the various aspects of marketing. Because I think while you work on the brand side, and that's a classic example, and it's not to demean anybody's role anywhere, but I've been in the agency line for 25 years now. And the way I've always looked at it is that while if I was to on the brand side or the product side, a single brand, then I would be selling this glass by saying this glass is full, or I may be saying this glass is empty, or this I may be saying this glass is half full or half empty, but I'm going to be talking about only this glass and nothing else in my life. But by being on the agency side, I've had a vast experience. I've had a chance to deal with different categories, different industries, different brands, different marketing initiatives, different requirements of my clients, which has really brought me to a certain level of understanding of marketing as a subject, right? So that's my suggestion, that in some of the cases you really are lost. You don't know, as you rightly said, what is it that you should start with or where is it that you should focus upon. For that, I'll just repeat that you need to really maybe work for 6 months in a marketing organization and experience the entire varied aspects of marketing, and then choose what you are good at and then go for it. So thank you, everyone. I think we've already closed, and I'm happy that we've closed it on time. Thanks everyone for being patient listeners, and I hope that I've added value to your knowledge. And in case anybody has any kind of a question or any doubts, please feel free to reach out to me. My mail ID is sameer@multiplier.co.in. And you could even go on to our website, look out for me, and you can reach out to me any point of time. Thank you so much. Wishing you all the best. Stay safe. Bye-bye.